So I think my last few videos have been a little unfair to Autopilot. I've been pushing it in situations it is not designed for, and it makes it look kind of bad. So for this video, I wanted to show off how well it works on highways. So I'm going to be taking Highway 26 West from Portland towards Hillsboro. The first leg of this is actually pretty windy, and with the old software, I would normally take over control because I would not trust it since it would get very close to the lanes. So this is the first time trying it with the new update, and I'm curious to see how well it performs. So the first couple miles of the trip, if they have a good improvement, that would be nice, since I can just enable it and let it go all the way. So okay, so it recognizes the speed limit, which is 50 right here. I don't get the autopilot indicator yet. Okay, now I do. So I'm going to enable autopilot. I'm going to set my follow distance to 2, and I'm going to keep it in the center lane. So far, so good. One of the things that I think is really cool about autopilot, if it goes under like tunnels and darker areas where there's a huge contrast, it actually picks up the lanes pretty well still. I haven't seen it get confused by just going into a tunnel or anything like that. So far it's staying very centered in the lane, way better than the last version, so that's good to see. Speed limit's 50 here, and I have my offset set to +7, so 57 is my max speed. I have it set to. We're doing 54 because I'm following the car in front of me. But so far, so good. Once this car on my right passes me, I'll test the auto lane change. I haven't tested that since the update, so I'm curious to see how much better that performs now. So I'm clear on the right. I'm going to engage my blinker, and the car is very, very smoothly changing lanes. So that was quite the improvement over the last revision. Good to see that. The majority of the highway is pretty straightforward. I don't see anything exciting coming up, so I won't try to fill the air with my voice, but if anything exciting comes up, I'll mention it. And I got my first wheel nag telling me to hold steering wheel. So when I'm on the highway, typically I'll just kind of press lightly on the wheel to get rid of the nag. If I'm driving on areas I shouldn't, or I don't trust the autopilot fully, I'll keep both hands on the wheel the whole time on autopilot. But on highways like this, it's way more trustworthy. This little crest in the highway right here usually causes it to get a little sporadic, but works fine now. Another thing it has done before is if there's a exit lane, it will try to follow that. I just realized the speed limit is 55 here, so I'm going to click the 55 on my screen, which will automatically set my speed to the speed limit plus the offset of 7 in this case. So now we're doing 62. So right here, a lane from the right merges in. Let's see which lane it follows. Okay, it's kind of just going in between the two lanes. So this new update does recognize wider lanes. So if a lane does merge, it'll see both of them as one lane, and then kind of try to center it itself, which I'm not a huge fan of. It should try sticking to the lane that was in existingly. but not so much in this case. Okay, so here is another point. I'm not sure what it's going to do. Okay, so right here the lane splits off into two, and it tried to follow the right one before realizing that wasn't a lane, and then it pulled back left. So that is kind of dangerous behavior. If someone thought I was changing lanes, they could have changed into my lane too. And notice, at least in the previous update, it will tend to take priority over the right lane. So if there's a right lane marker and no left lane, it'll take priority over that. Vice versa, it won't. But in this update, I haven't really figured out what it likes to do. Here's another off ramp. Pretty smooth there. It didn't try to pull me away. Typically, when I'm actually driving, I'll stay in the center lane or the farthest left lane, but I gotta be going the right speed for that. There's a bunch of traffic coming up, so I'm gonna put my left blinker on, have the car auto change, and that was silky smooth. That was much more like a real human driver. The previous version would just kind of drag you over the other lane quickly. Did not look human-like in it, but it's kind of terrifying. So glad to see they improved that a little bit. One thing I note, looking at my camera's mic limiter, it appears there's a decent amount of road noise it's picking up. That's one of the first things I noticed after getting this car. Coming from a Model S, the road noise was significantly more, especially above 60. It really depends on the highway you're on. I've gotten used to it by now, but if you're listening to music, you got to turn it up a little bit. There's a setting that will automatically change your volume based on your speed. I forget where it is. I had it enabled, but it was a little aggressive, didn't work too well, so I turned it off, and I'm just manually changing my audio based on my speed now. So on a highway like this, I get the put hands on steering wheel nag maybe every 3 minutes, 4 minutes. It seems to be at random intervals when you're on a normal highway. If I'm on, back roads like I've been doing, I'll get it way more often, but usually my hands are on the wheel anyway, so I don't see them. So coming up, the left lane merges into the middle lane. There's construction going on. In the previous update, I've tested it in both lanes. It merges fine, no issues. So I'm just going to keep my car in the middle lane and let the cars in the left lane merge into my lane. So since there is a solid white right lane and no left lane here, the car should follow the right lane and not try to center itself between the left lane, in my experience at least. And it seems to, nope. So it just recognized the left lane way over there and kind of centered itself between the two. And now I'm in the fast lane, so I'm going to try to move over to the right. Got a car there, so I'm going to keep autopilot on, but I'm going to manually press the accelerator. Just don't look at my speed. Alright, so I'm going to do an auto lane change by first starting off with not pressing all the way down on the turn signal, just halfway, and then it'll push all the way, and then it'll smoothly take me over. So there we go. I didn't have to disengage autopilot at all. And I'm actually coming up to my exit, so I'm going to see if I can get the autopilot to take me off onto the exit. I've never had any luck with it in the past, so we'll see what it does. So on the screen it'll actually show if there's a lane to your right or left. It's not showing one on my right, so I will have to manually turn here. But I will leave the adaptive cruise control on and let my car follow the speed of the ones ahead of me. And let's see if autopilot comes on. It does. Okay, so I'm going to see if autopilot can navigate this curve. It's doing it. It's just really, really freaking slow. I'm going to put my foot on the accelerator a little bit just to give it some speed. And I'm going to disengage because we have a light coming up. And put my sunglasses back on so they get bright. So usually once I get into my desired lane right here, I'll throw autopilot back on. It actually works very well here, very clear and defined lines. There's usually a lot of cars turning right though, so that usually introduces some odd behavior when the whole row of cars in front of me disappears. So we'll see how it does here. So this car is moving, my car sees that it's gone, and now it's accelerating. So that's pretty straightforward. Then this lane turns into the right turn lane, which has some odd markings up ahead. Previous update wouldn't be able to navigate it. I did test this yesterday on my way to lunch, and it worked fine. So it sees the left lane there, and it's correcting and working great. And because it is a light, I will disengage and manually drive my car for a second. Get in my desired lane, and re-engage autopilot. And if the lights are timed right, I can leave autopilot on all the way to my destination. So typically it works pretty great. Only have to disengage for the lights off the highway and then the last right turn. So 99% of this drive is an autopilot, which is pretty sweet. This car is going to try to move in front of me, and my car freaked out a little bit because I did it over the intersection, but it figured it out. Alright, we got a red light. Pretty aggressive stop. That got very, very close. I'm going to actually back up a little bit because my car got too close for that one. A couple things happened there. First, it seems like the car in front of me stopped quicker than the autopilot could have anticipated, so it threw on the collision warning, and it also got me very, very close to that bumper, which set off the parking sensor. So that's good information to have. If a red light's coming up that's pretty aggressive, then I should probably manually take over next time. Autopilot has been pretty good about stopping. The manual does say at high rates of speed or slowing down that it's not necessarily to be trusted as much. So that was a pretty good example of that. Alright, so that's pretty much it. Gonna end the video here. Overall, autopilot worked pretty great. Good improvements on the winding part of the highway. Good to see that's working better. And had an interesting close call back there. It's always good to figure out the limits of the system, so that was a good example. And I'll leave it at that.